Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan and thanks for joining us for our Monday update recorded on August the 26th. Well, as we said on Friday, a wall of windy westerlies is on the way for New Zealand, and this windy weather may well last across the rest of this month. It's certainly going to, but going into the start of September. We could have a couple of weeks of this windy weather off and on, thanks to some really big storms down over the Southern Ocean and over parts of Antarctica, and high pressure zones over Australia and to the north of us. And that means windy westerlies are in between the two, smack bang over the southern part of Australia, and that comes right in over the South Island and southern parts of the North Island. Let's try and make sense of the next 48 hours. Look at all the isobars moving in as low pressure down in the Southern Ocean surges up closer towards the South Island and closer towards Tasmania. So severe gales are possible as that moves through. And of course, as the westerlies build up, as they push in over the South Island, the rain builds up over on the west coast. So some heavier rainfall there. In fact, over the next 7 days, there could be 200 to 400 millimetres in parts of the west coast and 100 to 200 millimetres around Mount Taranaki and the Tararua Ranges. Most of the main centres and most of you to the very north and the very east won't be seeing huge amounts of rain this week. So this is how Tuesday lunchtime is shaping up. The windy weather has arrived out of Australia, and so now we start this 2-week long process. There'll be showers or patchy rain sort of in between the two there as this broken up front moves through. This is the main stormy stuff though down to the south. So we go to the temperatures now as a result of the northwesterly winds in some areas or just simply the westerly winds. The temperatures are up right across the country as far as maximum temps are concerned. And remember, down here, the blue shaded areas in the South Island, they were around 4 or 3 degrees only just a week or so ago. Now we're seeing 10s to 17s across the South Island. So Wednesday, now we can see this major storm south of the South Island over the Southern Ocean, very close to Antarctica. In fact, it's feeding into Antarctica, which you don't see very often. Central air pressure, 932 hectopascals. It might go lower than that as well. So with very low air pressure, and it's a long way from New Zealand, that means we don't really have to worry too much about things like snow and rain for the most part. There will be some severe weather this week, but not so much in the main centres. So the main focus now is going to be this windy weather coming through with high pressure to the north of New Zealand, low pressure to the south. That squash zone of spring westerlies comes in smack bang over the top of us. Wednesday sees showers clearing the North Island and those northwesterly winds building up over the South Island. Thursday, here comes the next surge of gales moving across the country, severe gales in the exposed areas, central parts of the country, through the mountains and higher points. The front moving up to the top of New Zealand falls apart. The rain is heaviest in the southern half of the South Island's west coast. And the winds, well, they'll be blowing everywhere, but they will be, as I said, strongest probably through central parts of New Zealand. Look at the low here, just down over the Auckland Islands, 967 hectopascals. That would normally be a news story, but this is part of a much larger low off the screen that's even bigger and deeper. In fact, here on Friday, you start to see it coming back in again. Again, the air pressure you see is in the 930 hectopascal range. That is very low, extraordinarily low. We do see these lows from time to time, these low pressure zones in the Southern Ocean area, south of us at this time of the year, but because, we're in the depths of winter as far as our trip around the sun is concerned. And so when you see these big lows down here, that is kind of normal, but we're seeing so many of them and the air pressure is so low down. That is a little bit different. And so that's encouraging the windier westerly weather to carry on. And this is just the chaos of the Southern Ocean. There's not necessarily rhyme or reason for it other than the polar vortex. You've probably heard about that. It's like a tight elastic belt around the South Pole. Keeps the cold air down to the south and our temperate air up here to the north. But sometimes, instead of having a nice perfect circular shape, starts to get this wavy shape to it. And when that happens, cold air can inject out of the Antarctic region, but likewise, warm air can come down. And I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing these really enormous low pressure zones, 929 here on Saturday. That will encourage severe gales across Australia and into some parts of New Zealand. Heavy rain again over there on the west coast. But the blue line, That's quite well south of us. So that's why, even though this is an Antarctic blast really, or an Antarctic storm, it's not necessarily affecting us with that Antarctic air. So our final map on Sunday shows a little bit of weakening down here, but still 940 hectopascals with those lows south of Australia and New Zealand. We don't see the wind quite as badly though on Sunday by the looks of it. That could still change a wee bit. The timing of these systems can be a bit tricky with so much chaos going down here. But it looks as though the westerly winds carry on across Australia and into New Zealand, and another surge of them coming in as we kick off 1 week from now. And that is all from me for today. We'll see you again tomorrow with our next update.